All right, guys, here we go again. I'm really excited about this one. So let's get into it. Okay, so today we are going to talk about marketing to yourself and the different ways that you can market to different types of buyers. Because what I have found just with myself, but also with a lot of our clients, is that the way that you receive information, the way that you receive marketing is typically the way that you would market to other people. And when you do that, you leave out so much. So let's see how this could apply to you, okay? And what we can do to change it, because what we're here for is to figure out how to take the next step in our business. So most of the way that we market is how we personally make decisions. So if you're a fast buyer, you create fast marketing. If you're a logical buyer, you're going to create info-heavy marketing. But you can see just from those two types that if you create info-heavy marketing, a fast buyer is likely to just scroll right past, not engage with your emails, not engage with your marketing at all. Versus if you're marketing as a fast buyer yourself and you're creating fast marketing, then those logical buyers are likely not going to engage with your content either, because it's not what they are needing. Your marketing should work for both, and make sure that you're never just leaving somebody out there. There's actually 4 types of buyers, and we're going to get into all of that. But the more you can make each individual piece of content resonate with more than one buyer, the better your conversions are going to be across all platforms. Because your marketing probably makes perfect sense to you, but that doesn't mean it's working for everybody else. You're likely posting and you're like, why are people not responding to this post? This speaks so much to me. I don't understand why I'm not getting any interactions. Well, it's likely because there's a gap between how you receive marketing and how others receive marketing. Because it's 9 out of 10 not going to be the offer. So it's not going to be whatever you're putting out there to the world. It's how you're communicating it. And so knowing that this is the blind spot for you can change everything. You're only speaking to one type of buyer in your marketing. You are unintentionally filtering out a ton of potential customers and clients. And it's not at all because they don't want what you offer. A lot of people do want what you offer. They aren't in the right mindset to make the decision to purchase because you're presenting information to them in a way that doesn't make sense. So, how can you communicate it properly? First, there are 4 types of buyers, like I said. Okay, so we have the fast impulse buyer. These people decide fast. They have feelings, like these impulsive feelings first. Like it's an immediate attraction. Okay, they are emotionally driven. They're going to decide quickly. They don't need a lot of information. They see you can help them or you have what they want, and they immediately purchase. So when you're marketing to this type of buyer, what works is creating urgency in the copy and in the graphic work, having clear call to actions. They know exactly what step to take, how to get from point A to point B the fastest. You have very strong visuals because this is somebody that needs an attention-grabbing moment so that they can immediately act upon it. And these people require bold, direct messaging. If you miss them, it's because you're too slow with your communication, or the process or information is too complicated and they move on fast. So you see this a lot with impulse buyers when they have to go to a website and you are taking a social media post. Your funnel for it is pushing them to your home page, not the specific page to grab whatever it is that you're trying to sell. And they immediately exit off because it's not driving them to make a quick enough decision and a quick enough purchase. Versus if you funneled them from that post directly to the item, they are much more likely to go ahead and snag that. The next one is the logical buyer. The logical buyer needs details. They think a lot before they buy. So when you are generating copy for this type of buyer, you need details. You want to compare the different options of something that you have. They want to know why this versus that. What works for them is education and proof, showing them why they need this, how other people have used it, how other people have benefited from it, giving them clear breakdowns as to what they're getting from you, and having transparency always. If your content feels too vague, if they can't see why it would benefit them, then they are going to go elsewhere and purchase. Okay? So This can feel a little bit harder if you're a product-based business, I think, because I think a lot of product-based businesses get stuck in I just need to like post this item. If they like the look of it, they'll purchase. But for a logical buyer, they want to know, how do you take that piece of clothing, for instance? How will that benefit me? Me buying this piece of clothing, how does that benefit me? Well, you can explain to them how it can benefit them because they can wear it in all 4 seasons, perhaps. Perhaps it's a tank. Okay, well, you can wear it as a standalone piece in spring and summer. In fall and winter, you can add this cardigan. You can add this lace layering top underneath. You have to tell them how it's going to benefit them. It's going to benefit them by giving you more confidence when you put this on for date night. So you can see how the copy for that is going to look dramatically different than the copy for somebody who is an impulse buyer. That's going to be more like, we only have 2 size smalls left. You want to purchase right now? And they're like, yes, I do. If you said that to the logical buyer, they're going to be like, okay, and like, I don't care. I don't know enough information to be able to make an informed decision. The third type of buyer is the skeptical buyer. They're interested, but they're not convinced yet. Okay? This person needs proof. They already have lots of objections, so you have to objection handle in whatever you're saying to them before they can vocalize those objections. And they do not trust easily. Honestly, this type of buyer is ramping up in volume, because I think you can even take like an impulse buyer or the logical buyer, and they're going to have a bit of the skeptical buyer inside of them, because as the online space grows specifically, we have a lot of great companies, great people to work with. We also have a lot of people who are not doing what is right, and that is causing a lot of distrust in consumers as a whole. So it is important to consider the fact that many of your other buying types of people are going to have a layer of skepticism. So how can you overcome that? What works for these people is testimonials, case studies, and just super clear transparency. Don't sugarcoat stuff. Don't try to glaze over issues. You want to be so real, raw, and authentic with them. If you miss them, it's because they likely did not feel that they could trust you for some reason. And for some of them, it's because like maybe you're using AI imagery that looks super AI, right? And they're like, okay, well, I can't trust you. For others, that's not going to bother them. What's going to bother them is that you don't put pricing on something and they have to go digging for it. And they're like, why would you hide that? There's so many different reasons that people can be skeptical. So you just have to kind of think about who your ideal client or customer is. Think about them, know them so well. We talk about this all the time. You have to know this ideal customer, consumer, like the back of your hand, like they're your BFF, because they are. And by knowing them like that, then you're able to know the reasons why they may have a bit of distrust and how you can overcome it. Okay, then we have the relational buyer. The relational buyer buys the connection. They stay for the brand. We see this a lot with small businesses. A lot of people shop small businesses not because of what you have, but because of who you are. And that is why it is very important to be bold and put yourself out there as the face of your brand, especially during your building stages. When you get to a certain level, yes, as the founder, you can step back, but there is a huge chunk of building time that is going to require you to be the one to get the connection, because they could purchase the exact same thing from so many people and brands. What makes you special, right? You are what makes your brand special. So this relational buyer, they buy based on the connection that they have. They want to feel aligned and connected, and they need to build that trust with you over time. What works with these people are storytelling, your personality coming out in everything that you do, and a consistent presence. Consistent presence also is going to help alleviate the skepticism in a skeptical buyer, because they're going to see you as somebody who is present, who is there, they're not going to purchase something from you and then you ghost, right? So this is a great way to, what do they say? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So anyways, if you miss them, it's because you're feeling transactional. You don't have an emotional pull, and then they're going to find someone else to connect with and purchase from. So you can see how, yes, the buyer types are dramatically different, yet at their core, you can cross off quite a few of their traits across all of them, okay? And what you do for one can directly feed to the other. People don't just buy based on what you sell. They buy based on how they decide. So you have to know your buyers. You have to meet them where they are with all of your marketing channels. Or you're going to constantly feel like you're doing all this work and not getting the results. Where most marketing is going to fall short is only speaking to one specific type of buyer. Again, typically it's the kind of buyer that you are, or the type of buyer that whoever's doing your marketing is. We work really, really hard at our agency to make sure we are trying to hit all of these different things. We like to test to see what resonates with a certain brand's like profile base, because you don't really know until you know. Okay, most marketing falls short because you're over-indexing. Over-indexing means you're doing all or nothing, kind of. So like everything's urgent, or everything is educational and there is no urgency, or everything's all about being pretty. We see this all the time in our people who come to us. They are so worried about everything looking perfect that they fail to recognize all the other pieces of something. And yes, things should look pretty because our eyes just naturally gravitate to pretty things. But that is only aesthetics. That is not all the other meat and potatoes of what this whole process looks like. Or over-indexing can look like all storytelling. You're just constantly, your copy is always telling a story about this or that or this or that, but you're never telling them how to directly purchase what you have to offer. So balance is what is important. That is how you create consistent conversions. Now, is this easy to implement if you're not used to doing it? Yes and no. But at the end of the day, how much do you want consistent conversion? I'm not asking you to create more content. I'm asking you to create more range in your content. So, what this looks like practically, if you're applying it across all of your channels, you want to reach all 4 types of these buyers on every single channel. So, for your social content, you want to mix and just play around with stuff. You want to look, how you might look at your grid, your Instagram grid for cohesiveness. You also want to strategically plan your content so that you're hitting all of these different types of buyers. So if you wanted to capture more than one in a post, 100% possible, because what you can do is you can capture one type of buyer in your graphic, and you can capture another type of buyer in your copy. So for instance, for fast impulse shoppers, having a fast hook in your reel, or a fast hook in your copy, or a fast hook on your graphic of your item. Then the logical part of it, you could have it in carousel, and then maybe like your copy is for the fast buyer, right? You can mix and match these types of things throughout your content so that you are not only hitting one person. Your relational aspect of it, you can tell a personal story while giving education in your copy, and your graphic could have a fast hook. So do you see how we are able to make this work for us instead of it being something that we feel like, oh my gosh, we have to do more? It's actually not about doing more. It's about doing less. So instead of posting 20 pieces of content, what if you could post 12 pieces of content, but you're hitting more buyer types within that content piece, so you are attracting more eyes each time you post? With email, if you have a list big enough, okay, there's a lot of people, a lot of you listening, a lot of you watching, that will only have a list that you can only do so much with. It's not big enough yet. But if it's big enough, segmenting your list is a great way to do it. Layering your messaging. And then, like I said, testing what works. So, for instance, some people like really beautiful aesthetic emails, and that's all they need to make the purchase. Others want to see color stories. Others might want it to be like last one. So it's important to do it in a way that's like a dance, and that you are giving everyone a little bit of what they need to drive those conversions. If you have a sales page, leading with urgency above the fold, then adding in an educational layer piece and your proof piece, and closing with a story. So on one sales page, you're hitting every single type. And it has to do with their attention span too. If you have your impulsive buyer, they need something immediate. They're going to be at the top. You want that at the top of whatever you're doing. Then you add in the educational piece, because those logical buyers are going to want to dive in for a little bit more info. And then they're going to be like, okay, that's good. But then they're skeptic. So then the next piece, your proof, is going to check that box. And then those people who love storytelling are used to consuming longer content. And then they are going to be the ones that actually reach the bottom. And that's when you can tell your story. So you can have one page reaching all 4 types of buyers. For urgency, having deadlines, scarcity, clear CTAs. Again, secondary is going to be our education piece. How does this work? What do you get? Why it matters? How it benefits them. The next piece, the proof, the testimonials, the case studies, the results, the user-generated content. And lastly, the storytelling piece, your journey, the mission, the connection piece that those types of buyers resonate with. Now, do you want to put all this into every single post you make on Instagram? No. But you can, like I've explained already, consolidate these types of buyers in different parts and pieces of your content so that you can get it all done in one. All right, so this will be how our mind has to change to make this not feel overwhelming. You don't have to change your personality. You don't have to change who you are. You just have to expand your messaging. You don't need a bigger audience. You need a broader reach. You need to be able to resonate with the audience that you have built. And this is how you do it. You don't need a better offer. You don't need to change anything except the way you communicate it. Because the more you can communicate it to people, the more those conversions are going to happen. So I hope you got something good from this today. I am so excited to see how you implement it. We would love to connect with you over on Instagram at Boutique Bestie Solutions. We are rooting for you. We want nothing but the best for you. If you want to get in touch with us for a marketing audit, they're free. We love to do that for you. Just reach out to us. We also have so many options to help you scale your business, whether you are into DIY or done for you services. We can help you out. All we want at the end of the day is to see you succeed. Nothing makes us happier. We love you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.